Hello everyone, welcome to my book reviews for April, and I did manage to read 6 books, which was kind of surprising. This is a very busy month for me, but I got through 6 books. And there is a bit of a variety. There's some historical, there's literary, and there's some mystery thrillers and that. So a little mix of genres this past month. And the first one I'll start with is The Mad Woman's Ball by Victoria Mass, and this is a French writer, and it's actually being made into a movie, and it is in French. I did watch some snippets on YouTube, and there's subtitles and that, but I would like to watch the whole movie at some point. And this takes place in 1885, and it's in the infamous Salpêtrière Asylum in Paris. And yeah, this held quite a number of women, and back then, if you're homeless or you're on the streets, you were sent to an asylum. If you actually were mentally ill, of course you went to an asylum, but there's many women who perhaps were a little too independent for their families, or they were acting out or misbehaving, and they would be sent to an asylum. And of course, back then they didn't have medications to treat any conditions. Half the women were probably there for no reason other than their families were kind of giving up on them. So this follows actually 2 women, and the first woman is Genevieve, and she's a senior nurse in the asylum. And it also follows Eugenie, who's a 19-year-old, and she would like to be more independent. She doesn't want to marry right away. She wants to go to school and that sort of thing, and the family's discouraging her. And then at one point she confesses to her grandmother that she sees and can communicate with ghosts. And she trusts her grandmother not to say anything, but she does, and the family ends up taking her to this asylum. And the Mad Woman's Ball, so once a year, the French elite, the wealthy, would come and watch the patients dress up in various costumes, and they would have the Mad Woman's Ball. So it was sort of entertainment for the elite and the wealthy. So it follows these 2 women, the nurse and the patient, and they're kind of using each other in a way as a means to an end. They both have certain goals in mind, and it kind of culminates at this Mad Woman's Ball, and sort of the planning that they have done kind of comes to a head during this ball here. So yeah, it was a very interesting book. I believe Salpêtrière Hospital is still open. It's not an asylum anymore. I believe it's just a general hospital. But yeah, it's we certainly have come a long way in the treatment of the mentally ill, and there's luckily some safeguards up that people who should not be admitted are not admitted. Yeah, back then the men were quite powerful, and if they want you in an asylum, you went. So yeah, it was a very intriguing read. And the next book is by Riley Sager, The Only One Left, and this is the 4th Riley Sager I have read. Now, I have read The Last Time I Lied, which probably was my favorite so far, and Home Before Dark, and then The House Across the Lake. The House Across the Lake was probably my least favorite so far, but I actually did really enjoy this particular story. So this takes place in the present day, which is 1983, and Kit is a home health care aide, and she is out of work because there was incident while she was working, and she has been suspended and is out of a job. And she has been offered to look after Lenora. And she is quite infamous, this woman. Back in 1929, her parents and her sister were murdered, and everyone thought it was Lenora, who was 17 at the time, but they couldn't find any evidence against her, so she was let go. But since then, the whole town, everyone believes she is guilty. So over these many decades, she has been a recluse in her isolated mansion. And her last caregiver up and left in the middle of the night for no reason and never came back. So Kit has been offered the job and she's rather desperate, so she takes it. And Lenora is quite incapacitated. She's had a stroke. She cannot speak. Her mobility is quite limited. So she decides when Kit arrives that she finally wants to tell her story about what actually happened. And with the assistance of Kit, she is able to start typing out her story on a typewriter. So yeah, there is so many twists and turns in this book. I was getting whiplash, especially those last maybe 7,500 pages. Oh my God, every page there was a new reveal. Like I said, twists and turns just every which way. Yeah, it was a surprise ending. I really can't say I could guess what one of the twists was, because there is many twists in here. So, but yeah, in general, I like the pacing. It was a quick read because it was hard to put down. So I give this a strong 4 stars. And then this is The Dog Master by W. Bruce Cameron, and this is a historical fiction, and I'm talking historical. I'm talking 30,000 years ago, and this takes place. It doesn't really specify. I'm guessing maybe Northern Europe or somewhere in Europe. There's like a snowy season and a summer season, that sort of thing, and it sort of follows a couple of tribes, and they live across the river from each other, though one's further up. So they're quite a few miles apart, but it does follow these 2 tribes and how they survive. And yeah, just you kind of wonder how the human race did survive. But yeah, it sort of shows their day-to-day life and the struggles and the relationships and that sort of thing. And there is a particular outcast from one of these tribes. He is sent to live on his own, and pretty well you won't survive if you're on your own back then. And he ends up finding this mother wolf who has some cubs, and she is severely injured and is not able to look after the cubs anymore. So he kind of takes over looking after the cubs, and that's sort of how he starts training and domesticating these wolf cubs. So it's very interesting how I mean, this is all speculative fiction, of course, but it's interesting to see how these tribes lived and how this particular man started the process of domesticating the wolves. Now, the one thing is the dialogue. I don't know, it was a bit cringy at times. Of course, we don't know how they talked 30,000 years ago. We can only speculate, and we don't know how complex their language was. But yeah, sometimes the conversations kind of threw me off. They were kind of somewhat simple at times, which you would expect. But there's other times it reads like you're sitting down with an English professor. So this one quote was, they were talking about the Women's Council, and they make a lot of the decisions for the tribe. So it's, yes, but anyone can pronounce their opinion without fear of retribution. The Women's Council, though, is hushed. Albie's job is to put to voice our consensus, but often she suppresses the discussion. So it's just, sometimes it's just straightforward dialogue, and then you get all this. It's just, I don't know, when you're thinking 30,000 years ago, it's just kind of off-putting. I don't know how else it would have done. But anyway, yeah, so generally it was pretty good. I don't know I wouldn't really know how to rate this. Maybe a 3.75. It was certainly interesting reading about how they did survive back then. But I especially liked the domestication of the wolves and how he went about that. And this is Stuart Turton, The Devil and the Dark Water. So he wrote The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which I still have to read. So this takes place on board a ship and is bound for Amsterdam in 1634, and Samuel Pepys is a prisoner, though he was the world's greatest detective. So we find out along the way why he was arrested. The main character is his bodyguard. That's who we read about the most, Errant, and he's trying to, there's strange things happening on this ship. very strange things that can't be explained, and there's some deaths aboard which can't be explained, which are suspicious, and everyone thinks it's this particular devil that's been kind of terrorizing parts of Amsterdam, and so he's trying to prove exactly if it's the devil or if it's actually a person doing these very difficult things. So yeah, this one had quite a twist at the end, which I was not anticipating. And yeah, I liked his writing style. It was a fun read. It was very atmospheric. It was interesting to read what life aboard a ship was like. And yeah, I wasn't expecting the twist. And the ending got a little bit far-fetched, but anyway, it wasn't a bad ending. So yeah, I give this a good 4 stars. And this is by Elizabeth Gifford. This is Secrets of the Sea House. And this is a dual timeline. It takes place on the Hebrides Islands, which is on the coast off of Scotland. And initially it takes place in Scotland in 1860, the Hebrides Island. And there is a new reverend who arrives to take over the parish. And he is actually quite obsessed about mermaids. He is convinced he has seen one, and he wants to prove that they are actually alive and are real. And then the other timeline is in present day, when a couple buys the old parish and they want to make a bed and breakfast, and while they're renovating they find the skeleton of this baby whose legs are fused together as if it was a mermaid. So it goes back and forth in time. And in present day, Ruth, one of the couples, she is pregnant and she wants to find out more about her father. She doesn't know who her father was. She's thinking he was born in the Hebrides. She thinks her mother was born in the Hebrides, but she's not alive anymore. And she just wants to find out about her past and what really happened and who her father was, etc., etc. And then in the Scotland in 1860, there were the landowners were forcing people off the land and burning their crops, and many on this particular island were sent to Canada. They had nothing to their name. So it sort of goes over about the infamous Scottish clearings at the time. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting book. I did enjoy it. I'd give that about a 3.75 stars. And the last book I read was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. So the original story idea was by Siobhan Dowd, but she passed away at 47 from cancer, and Patrick Ness was asked to take over the story and write about it. So this one is the illustrated version, so there's quite a few illustrations in here, and this follows Connor, who I think is 12 or 13, and he's having an extremely difficult time. His parents are divorced, and his father moved to America to remarry, and so he rarely sees his father and feels very rejected by him. And his mother is going through cancer treatments that are unfortunately not working, and he's very scared that he's going to lose her. He thinks he might have to live with his grandmother after she passes away, and he does not get along with his grandmother. He is bullied quite a bit at school, so he is going through a very tough, difficult time. And then one night, there is a tree. What kind of tree was it? A yew tree, I believe, which they usually put in graveyards back in the day. Anyway, this yew tree becomes like this monster and starts visiting each night in that and talking to this boy in that. So yeah, it's kind of a sad, depressing book, actually. Young Connor is acting out a lot at home and at school, and yeah, I think that for me, I think you can interpret this any way you want. I think to me this tree monster kind of represents the inner turmoil that this young child is going through, seeing his mother dying, and having virtually no contact with his father, and being bullied. And I think this sort of represents what's going on inside his head and that. So yeah, it's very sad and depressing. I think one thing that you can learn from this is to be empathetic towards just anyone, when you're out and about, just be kind to everyone, because you don't know what they're going through. And I believe this is for like middle grade, young adult, and that sort of thing. So I think it'd be a good book for them to read. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know how to rate this. Certainly a strong 4-star anyhow. It was definitely a very interesting read on grief and how a person can act out when they just don't know what to do with their emotions and that. So, alrighty, and then oh, the book I'm reading right now is sorry, I think I put it downstairs. I was reading outside for a bit. It's Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. And yeah, it's my 4th book already. I'm getting some, any time I have a spare minute, I'm reading. It just helps kind of chill me out. Yeah, it takes place on a remote island, and there's just strange things happening, and there's folklore and a lot of magic on the island, and these people own this tea shop. And anyway, I'm just getting started, so anyway, that's it. Happy reading, and I hope to see you soon. So everyone take care. Bye-bye.